We all know Blast is useless in Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. After all, the metagods have proclaimed it as fact. Even the strongest Blast Bow with all the blast boosting skills in the game can't hold a candle to a standard endgame build. What if I told you that the weakest Blast Bow will do more damage than the one you're using right now? And it will perform this well no matter which monster you take it up against. Don't believe me? Check this out. Back in the day, Kelby Bow reigned supreme. And it was all because of Blast. Well, back then we called it Slime. But aside from the toxic day-glow yellow-green color, it was the same thing as Blast. It worked the same way as Blast does now. And since it was a new game mechanic introduced back before game patches were in widespread use on consoles, the initial imbalances that Blast Slime came with were left in the game. They still are, in fact. If you go back and play Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, you'll see what I'm talking about. You can spam level 1 charge shots with the Kelby Bow and mindlessly defeat any monster in the game. Fast forward to 2021 and the launch of Monster Hunter Rise, and Blast is just a shadow of its former glory. It's a vestigial remnant of what it used to be, much like the Ancient Potion and the Antidote. Even with every single blast boosting skill in the game on your armor build, Capcom has tuned the monster's blast resistances so that the extra damage that it provides is not an attractive option, or so the mainstream YouTube creators would have you believe. The reality is, Blast isn't as bad as we've been told. Capcom has recognized their neglect of Blast, and recent title updates have done more for Blast than probably anything else in the game. To rectify this situation, Capcom has given us 2 armor skills, Status Trigger and Build Up Boost. Status Trigger activates on an evade, whether the evade is successful or not, including Dodge Bolt, and it makes all your attacks apply Blast, not just every third one. Build Up Boost gives you a flat 20% damage increase to any attack that applies Blast. When you combine these two together, you're getting the largest damage boost in the entire game. So what? 20% damage won't make up for all the skills you have to sacrifice in order to build a decent Blast set, right? Well, if you're simply building a traditional Blast-focused set, then maybe not. But guess what, folks? Build Up Boost works whether you're applying 2 points of blast per arrow or 75 points of blast per arrow. It makes no difference either way. You're still going to get a 20% damage boost to your raw attack. Are you starting to get the idea now? Let's look a bit closer, and if you're still skeptical, don't worry, it will all become clear very soon. If we make the assumption that the amount of blast on the bow is irrelevant, as long as it's greater than 0, then our best choice of weapon will be the Blast Bow with the best stats overall, minus the blast. We've got 4 bows to choose from. Of the 4, 2 are rapid shot type, 1 is spread, and 1 is pierce. 2 are tied for the lead with 340 attack. The pierce bow has 20% affinity. 2 bows have superior slot levels. They all have access to power coatings. Given all that, these 4 bows are about the same strength, balanced pretty well considering their shot types. But one of these bows stands out above the rest for one simple reason: the natural level 4 charge. Orangutan Bow is the clear winner here because that natural charge level frees up an entire level 4 slot that would otherwise be taken by a Bow Charge Plus decoration. It's got one other thing going for it too. It's the only spread bow of the bunch. Why is spread important here? Because we want Status Trigger active 100% of the time, and the spread playstyle relies on lots and lots of dodge bolts to be successful. Therefore, it's the best playstyle to keep Status Trigger active for the longest amount of time. And look, it is the worst bow of the bunch in terms of blast, a measly 16 points per shot. But remember, that number could be a 1, and this build still works. What exactly does the build look like? First of all, we want spread up 3. That's a 20% damage boost. Get used to hearing that. Second, weakness exploit and critical boost combined give you 20% damage boost. Third, status trigger and build-up boost combined give you 20% damage boost. Now here's where things get a little tricky. You might be tempted to boost your attack power at this point, but I'm going to caution against it. Mostly because I've tested it and Critical Eye is going to be a better option than attack boost. Critical Eye 7 will give you 40% affinity, which is 16% damage boost. A single point of ballistics will allow you a bit more flexibility with super crit, which you get by using the bolt boost switch skill. And that's going to be something like 13.5% damage boost. Although this one's harder to keep active with a really aggressive spread playstyle. Adrenaline Rush 3 and Burst 2 will combine to give you 42 points of attack, which, given a base attack power of 340, is equivalent to about 12% attack boost. I managed to squeeze in Bloodlust and Powder Mantle, which will just pile on even more. And I also got 3 points of Foray, which will pair nicely with the poison coatings available on the bow, as well as all the elemental beetles you pick up along the way. The Chameleos Blessing 3 is so that the poisons last longer, thus extending the effects of Foray longer too. Other people have done calculations on what Powder Mantle will do for you, and they claim up to 20% more damage. I'm skeptical of that, but they're probably skeptical of my numbers too. But wait, I haven't even added in the damage from the blast itself. Based on my testing, this build will proc a blast explosion about 1/2 as often as my build that optimizes for blast proc. You won't notice it in the arrow damage numbers, but over the course of an entire quest, and depending on the particular monster, you can expect up to 10% additional damage just from that meager 16 points of blast on this bow. Still having doubts? Why have doubts when you can have a blast instead? Pretty awesome stuff. I forgot to mention the single most important part of the build though, the layered weapon. Bish bows are the ugliest weapons in the game. You got to use the Kelby skin for retro style points anyway. Blast bow dominance just isn't the same without a slingshot in your hands. I've got some interesting things coming up. In the meantime, don't let anyone tell you that blast bow sucks. And check out this other build that I made that can get you some insane damage output without relying on elemental or shot type matchups. And it's safer than any other build on the market. Check it out.